From 13 broke colonies to 800 military bases worldwide. From let's stay out of global drama to policing half the planet. The US is an empire that no one saw coming, and today we'll look at just how this nation in the great North America accidentally took over the world. That wasn't the plan. Early America had one strategy: stay alive and stay out of drama. George Washington, the dollar bill guy, was like, let's not get involved. And honestly, America couldn't have gotten involved if it tried. America's military? Cute. 200,000 guys. 0 planes. Which is adorable until you realize that's exactly why they almost lost every war they started. Fair enough. Europe was busy burning itself down. Wars, empires, revolutions. America just focused west. Expand, grow, make money. James K. Polk pushed further. Land, resources, influence. Everything scaling up. Until they hit the Pacific Ocean. All right, we did it. Now what? Under Andrew Johnson, his Secretary of State, William Seward, bought Alaska from Russia. People thought it was a joke. Seward's folly. Imagine buying a giant block of ice and everyone's like, good luck with that. Turns out, yeah, that aged very well. But every time America tried to go further, grab more land, expand overseas, Congress would step in like, nope, we're not doing empire today. Except they accidentally started building one anyway. Just slowly, and without realizing it. Which is exactly what happened. And that whole, what do we do next phase? Over. Real quick. Because by the late 1800s, the US economy starts booming. Factories, railroads, industry. Money is coming in fast. And when that happens, you don't stay in your lane for long. You start looking outward. More trade, more resources, more influence. Which brings us to William McKinley. Now, McKinley wasn't trying to take over the world, but he wasn't exactly avoiding it either. In 1898, he gets his moment. Cuba. Spain's in control. Cuba's fighting back. The US is watching closely. Then, an American battleship explodes in Havana Harbor. And just like that, everything escalates. Public outrage spikes. Pressure builds. McKinley declares war. And this war? Not even close. The US steamrolls Spain. But here's where things shift. America doesn't just win, it expands. Puerto Rico, Guam, the Philippines. Just like that, the US is overseas. Not visiting, it's staying. And it doesn't stop there. Hawaii, Samoa, more territory follows. At this point, minding your business is no longer an option. America's in the game now. This wasn't some grand strategy. It was more like, we won, so we kept it. And that mindset, that's where things start to spiral. So now America is part of global politics, which becomes very obvious very quickly. 1914, World War I kicks off. At first, the US stays out. Even Woodrow Wilson is like, yeah, neutral. Sounds great in theory. In reality, not so simple. America's officially neutral, but it's still trading, lending money, slowly getting pulled in. And then eventually, it joins the war. Not because Wilson wanted to. He ran on, he kept us out of war. Then Germany started sinking US ships. And suddenly, neutrality wasn't an option. Oops. Then the US shows up, and it changes everything. Was that the plan? No. The plan was to stay home. But once you're in, you're in. Extra troops, resources, the war tips. Then it ends. Now America isn't just involved, it's important. Like top of the table important. Wilson leans into it, shows up to the peace talks with a big idea. A place where countries could argue without starting a war. A group project. For world peace. For a moment, looks like America's about to lead. But then, it doesn't. Back home, Congress looks at the idea and goes, yeah, no. They reject it. The US never joins the League of Nations. So America built the table, pulled out the chairs, then stood in the corner and watched. Peak accidental foreign policy. After helping end a world war and trying to shape the future, America steps back, which is wild, because it clearly has the power to lead. It just won't commit. All the muscle, none of the responsibility. Works fine until the next war shows up. And that hesitation doesn't last forever. In 1941, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. Suddenly, the stay out of it strategy, gone. America goes from not getting involved to all in. Not dipping a toe. Full-scale industrial global war. Factories that were supposed to be temporary ran 24/7 for 4 years straight. By the time it's over, Europe is flattened. America, stronger than ever. war, and just to top it off, the only country on Earth with nuclear weapons, which is a pretty big advantage, and also terrifying. Now, America isn't just in the world, it's at the head of the table, and this time, it doesn't walk away. Instead, it builds a system, global rules, global institutions, the United Nations, a place to argue without immediately starting a war, the IMF, the World Bank, keeping the economy from imploding every 20 minutes. Who's leading it? Yeah, America. Everyone else is rebuilding. America's like, all right, new rules. I'll handle it. Not because it wanted to, because it was the only one left standing. That's not strategy. That's a participation trophy. Right here, everything changes. Before World War II, America could pretend this was temporary. Help out, go home. Repeat. After World War II, not an option. There's a system now. America is the center. Leaving breaks the whole thing. So instead of stepping back, it stays. Those temporary bases in Germany, built in 1945, still there in 2026. That's not temporary. That's a landlord situation. That decision, the point of no return. Just as America settles in, another problem shows up. The Soviet Union. Not about territory, ideology, capitalism versus communism. Two visions of how the world should work. Suddenly, every country matters. One side gains influence. The other has to respond. The strategy? Containment. Stop communism everywhere. Sounds reasonable until you realize what it means. Being involved everywhere. Europe? Yes. Asia? Yes. Middle East? Yep. Latin America? Of course. America isn't just in the game. It's playing every match on every field at the same time. So it builds alliances. NATO. If one gets attacked, we all show up. Troops everywhere. Bases everywhere. Deals everywhere. And sometimes, those deals are not great. Supporting regimes that aren't exactly democratic. Intervening in conflicts that aren't exactly clear-cut. All to stop the other side. The fear is simple. If you don't get involved, they will. That fear keeps the machine running for decades. By the time the Cold War is in full swing, America has alliances, influence, and military presence everywhere. Not because it planned it, but because every problem pulled it deeper. And at this point, backing out isn't on the table. Cold War ends. Soviet Union collapses. America wins. So naturally, it brings the troops home, right? Nope. By now, temporary was a joke. The bases stayed. The alliances stayed. Walking away meant breaking the whole thing. So America stayed, even without a rival. Just didn't know what else to do. There was never a let's run the world meeting. No whiteboard. No mission statement. Just a country that kept saying yes to the next problem. Until one day, it was responsible for everything. Growth led to expansion, led to conflict, led to responsibility, led to oops. Every decision made sense at the time. That's the trap. America didn't wake up planning to take over. It just never stopped showing up. And that's how the country that wanted to stay out of it ended up running it. Not by design, just by not leaving. Subscribe for more, because sometimes history isn't planned. It just happens while you're looking the other way.